Lakers are expected to bring Westbrook off the bench starting tonight in Minnesota. Your thoughts?
Well, I think I said it even when they acquired Westbrook before last season that this is really the ideal usage for him. I just didn't know if his ego would really ever allow him to wrap his head around that. But I think he probably feels like this is rock bottom right now. You know, the start he's off to, the start the team is off to. He really doesn't have any sort of fit or chemistry with LeBron James on the court at the same time. So you've got to find a way to stagger his minutes opposite LeBron. And I think this is the best way to approach it. Now, listen, this doesn't solve their problem. This might make Russell Westbrook better and more efficient and more comfortable playing with more second unit guys so he can just be the same player he's been with that style where it's his show. That might make him better. That does not improve their situation overall as a team because of the shooting problems we've alluded to. This is not an easy fix, and I don't know if it is fixable. And I was doing the math on it earlier this morning. I'm looking, and at absolute best, their absolute ceiling is going to be 9th in the Western Conference. And if you have teams like Portland or Utah or San Antonio who are off to decent starts, if any of those teams, 2 of those 3 teams jump them, they're outside the play-in even. But the absolute best they will finish is 9th if everybody stays healthy with this roster.
I mean, look, in a league where it's now fully 2/3 of the league are still playing when the regular season is over, you have to be sorry to not be playing when the regular season is over, and the Lakers are sorry right now. Give fans of the Lakers, I'm a Lakers fan, give fans of the Lakers reason for hope. Legs, give me a little something.
I really wish I could, but I don't think it's going to happen, Max. So I think they're going to start 0-7. I think their first win will be at home against Utah in their 8th game of the year. And I think what's going to happen is the fabric of the locker room is probably going to unravel because what I'm already seeing is a lifeless group. They don't handle adversity well. Once things start to turn in a game, they can stay competitive for a couple of quarters. But once they get hit with that run and they fall down, 8-10 points, you can just see the body language. They collapse. There's not great chemistry there. They don't have a lot of spirit collectively. And I think before long, the really only reason to talk about the Lakers is going to be LeBron chasing the scoring record. That's what this season is going to become about because I think they're going to be buried before you know it. Certainly by Christmas, I think you're going to see this thing completely start to dissolve. And I feel terrible for Darvin Ham that this is going to be his first coaching experience dealing with this mess and horrible roster construction.
I was looking for a win on the Lakers schedule, and I, like you, Legs, came up with they'll be 0-7, and then they'll beat Utah at home. But that's like a pick'em type game. They might not win that game. Coming up, right. Aaron Rodgers goes into this weekend as the second best quarterback on the field. Does he have it?
Went absolutely off last night in Brooklyn in overtime. Doncic took over, dominated the Nets in the extra session, and took his team to a win.
It was good to see Tim Hardaway score 18, being really productive to help Luka out. McGee, championship pedigree, big guy running the floor, catching those dimes and finishing them. But when I got confused, I looked at the sideline. It was Jason Kidd, one of the greatest point guards of all time. Mm-hmm. And what I saw is him crafting an offense for Luka that allows Luka to be him.
He's him.
He is I, and I am him. And coming into this season, who do I say is going to be MVP?
Luka Doncic.
Just think about this for a second. He was doing this against KD and Kyrie when both of them were still getting buckets.
KD and Kyrie did great. Matter of fact, every game the Nets have played, KD and Kyrie have combined for at least 60 points, but they're not winning games.
Teachers teach and do the world good. Kings just rule and most are never understood. So why did the Mavs win, Jalen, over the Nets, even though KD and Kyrie were playing so very well? Is because Luka's making the people around him better.
Yep.
That's the difference. If you look at their rosters, who would you think have a better roster?
I would think on paper you would say the Nets.
Okay, so one guy has 14 assists, 11 boards to go with 41 points. Mm-hmm. That means
love that pass so much.
80 of their points he either scored or assisted. 80. One gentleman, Luka. And you know the thing I love about him so much is when he get a dunk, he just start laughing.
He barely dunked.
He just started laughing. He went baseline and got that dunk. He like, y'all let me dunk? Like, see, of all people on the court, y'all let me dunk? You know, y'all ain't got a chance if y'all letting that happen.
How many Mavs possessions are Luka just getting to the teeth of the defense and just kicking out to a wide open three-point shooter? How many times did that happen?
Well, Jacoby, here's what I thought about. Steph Curry and Luka are the two most unguardable perimeter players in the game. And Ja Morant, those three. But Luka, what makes Luka different from the other two is that when you're playing against the Mavs, you'll try all 5 of your people on Luka because of his size. So you'll have your perimeter guys guarding him, you have your guards guarding him, you have your bigs guarding him, you have your center guarding Luka. And so now it's like the guy that's in the fight and everybody wants to rush him and he just punched the bully. Nobody can stop Luka.
No.
And to your point, takes his time, gets into his zone, isn't rushed, gets to his spot, makes a play. Luka's an incredible athlete, and I don't like to necessarily do generational comparisons, but the pace that he plays at, it reminds me of what Larry Bird would look like if he played today.
I love Larry Bird so much.
You prayed to a Larry Bird poster
Every
growing
single
up.
game.
You
Before
prayed.
I left the house, I prayed to the legend.
Do you see that pace?
I mean, they have very different games, but it's kind of like if Larry Bird was born 40 years later.
Yeah, the pace that he plays.